Shree Maathrey Namaha, with the divine blessings of our Mother Divine Lalita Mahatripura and Father Divine Lord Mahadeva. Today we will discuss, to the extent Mother Divine allows us, to discuss about one of her greatest devotees, Avadutha Bhagavan Dattatreya. During the episode that we discussed on Datta Jayanti, we discussed about the birth and the significant places of Bhagavan Dattatreya, how he continues to be born in all those minds where the saintly divine couple Maharshi Atri and Anasuya exist. That's where Bhagavan Dattatreya takes a birth. Today, celebrating Bhagavan Dattatreya's Avatara Paripurna Dinam, where Avatara, Tara means star, Avatara means that star that descends onto the planet, because the beings on the planet are not able to raise to the level of the star descends. So today that Avataram goes back to its state of the star, which would be guiding, motivating and inspiring all its followers in the form of a guru first, then as a celestial divine star. Many such avatars have walked on this planet to bless a lot of devotees and to show the path of devotion, jnana, vairagya and bhakti margas. In today's episode, we'll make a brief attempt to discuss about the significance of Avadutha Gita, the Gita that was given by none other than Dattatreya, and it makes a mention of the 24 gurus that Bhagavan Dattatreya picked up from nature. The first of the gurus Dattatreya mentions is Earth. Earth is abused, used, ill-used by the people by plowing, digging and treading the earth. We light fire on it, but earth does not get offended from our actions or lack of those actions, therefore resulting in inactions. On the other hand, earth continues to feed all the beings that exist on it. When Dattatreya looked at this attribute of earth, he said, I learned patience from Mother Earth, and no matter what others have to take away from me, I will always continue to give to them, because that's what I learned from my dear Guru, Mother Earth. Therefore, earth is listed as his Pradama Guru. Then the second Guru Dattatreya mentions is wind. Wind has no association, no friendship. It's pure and orderless itself. When the wind goes over a dead body, it does not feel disgusted that it is going over a dead body. Similarly, when the wind is going over a garden of jasmines or roses, it never stays there because of the fragrance, but it continues to move, because movement of wind is an attribute of disassociation. Just like the Avadhutas do not get attached to anything, whether it's good or disgusting, they just move on, just like the wind. Therefore, Bhagavan Dattatreya says he learned a lot of detachment from wind. Third, he mentions sky as his guru. He says that Satchit Ananda Tattvam that is in me, that is making me watch this whole universe and making me experience every feeling, pleasure and pain as like the soul of the sky, which is omnipresent. Dattatreya in his Avadutha Gita says, I have noticed wherever I've been to on this planet, the one thing that stayed continuously with me was the sky. Sometimes it was filled with smoke, sometimes it was filled with clouds, sometimes it was clear, sometimes it was bright, sometimes it was dark. But the sky, continued to exist just like my inner voice, the soul, continues to exist within me all the time. Then the fourth Guru Dattatreya mentions is fire. Just like fire has no sangatya dosham, where anything you offer to fire, whether it's a dead body or a ghee or a sweet or a piece of wood, it can turn it equally into ashes without discriminating, and in the process the fire never gets polluted because it never loses its state of originality. Therefore Dattatreya says one should be like fire. He or she might come in touch with a lot of people who will try to influence him or her with their views of everything that had to do with pleasure, skin, body, lust, and political views to do with this planet and this planet alone. Rare are those people who can instigate and stir our pot of spiritual wisdom and chambers of internal portals of our thought process, therefore triggering the fire of wisdom which will burn the ignorance to dust, therefore making one remotely ignorant and question the status quo of his or her existence, applying a filter of spiritual wisdom which is beyond logic. And therefore Dattatreya says his fourth Guru is fire. The fifth Guru, he says, is sun. Though sun is the only Pratyaksha Bhagavan we see every day of our life, sun reflects in water, in other containers. Whatever you take, a glass, a mirror, a bowl of water, a glass of water, you look at the reflection of sun, the sun will reflect as if is many, but to reflect as many, there should be one. Therefore, this Parama Pratyaksha Bhagavan, of a representative of Mother Divine, from Lalita Sahasranamam we'll get a name Bhanu Mandala Madhyastha, which represents that Surya derives his energy from Mother Divine's feet. And if there are so many walking pots of wisdom that walk around, that's because there is one that reflects in all these beings, and that sun which illuminates in many forms in nature, whether it's plants, water bodies, beings in the water body, or humans or sages. It's essentially that oneness of sun that reflects the life in all of us. Therefore sun is my fifth Guru. And the sixth Guru is a dove or a pigeon. And Dattatreya explains it with a brief story that under the Audambara Vriksham that he used to sit, there used to be a pigeon couple. One day that pigeon couple's young baby gets trapped in a nest, and the mother jumps into the nest, and then the father also jumps into the nest, therefore all the three of them losing their lives. Then Dattatreya says, the dove which sacrificed its life because it fell in the clutches of samsara, and that net trapped that pigeon, therefore taking away the life out of the pigeon because it fell for the sensual pleasures, therefore trying to have a family that it thought it created it, and therefore it made an attempt to save that being, therefore sacrificing its life. If it were to think for a moment that who created it, who is bringing the end to that creation, that pigeon might have survived through not only through a normal life, but also would have elevated itself through the spiritual portals, was Dattatreya's point. And Dattatreya says, man is no different. He or she continues to bring his or own destruction by wasting the valuable amount of time that one has on this planet in search of food, shelter, and other things for the family he continues to create or she continues to create, thinking it's their creation rather than realizing it's the divine drama of the one who created us. Then the Guru is Python. Dattatreya mentions Python does not move very fast. It waits for its food to come to it and then tries to swallow the food, big or small. Therefore does not really try to go after food given its slowness. And whatever comes its way is what it accepts as food. Therefore, Python, he accepted as his seventh teacher of wisdom. The eighth one is ocean. Dattatreya looks at all the rivers that flow into ocean and sees how no matter what flows into an ocean, the level of ocean always remains the same. So Dattatreya says no matter what makes you, it could be material riches, it could be the material wealth, it could be the position, title, and whatever you are called at your work or in your office, in your public offices that you hold, that should never ever make you bloat to think that you are God's gift to mankind, but it should make you even humbler that given there are so many people, so many creations out there, that you have been chosen by the Mighty One to sit in that position and chair, which too shall pass. You too shall vacate it one day. And being so mighty, this ocean which continues to swell and swing in the form of tides never crosses the limits that God has created in the form of Chiriyalakatta, where the tides of the ocean come and meet the sands of the beach, but never break open into the towns and cities by the coastal side that take shelter by the seas and oceans. Similarly, no matter how tall one grows by stature, position, and material riches, one should always be bound by the Vedic rules that the divine has created for us. The ninth is moth. Moth falls to its death by getting attracted to the fire. Moth does not realize that the fire can bring its death, therefore it seeks that warmth of the fire and unknowingly burns its wings first and then burns itself. Similarly, humans burn their time while they have the time in the form of minutes, hours, days and weeks that last on this planet in search of everything that will not help the spiritual progress but will only help in the growth of this physical body, which will anyways decay. Our hunt for food is no different from the hunt of moth for fire, which brings an end to the illusion of the body being in a limited self. Thus Dattatreya says moth is his ninth guru. Then comes elephant. Elephant, Dattatreya says, is 10th guru, because to trap an elephant, often a cow elephant or a female elephant's dummy is made and it's kept on top of the bamboo shoots covered with grass. An elephant comes and tries to rub its body to the cow elephant for the sensual pleasure that it derives by rubbing its skin. In the process, by its own weight, it falls into the trap of the bamboo sticks that are set at the bottom of the cow elephant, therefore falling in its own weight in the pit where the cow elephant is standing, therefore getting trapped in a pit where it walked into for getting sensual pleasures. Sensual pleasures will be an entrapment to walk away from spirituality, and one who goes beyond the skin will be able to go beyond the body and the sensual pleasures. Therefore, Dattatreya says elephant is my 10th guru. The 11th guru is a bumblebee. Bumblebee jumps from flower to flower, gathering the tiniest drops of nectar, and it celebrates its tiny victories in pleasure, expressing its attitude of gratitude. More than the nectar it takes from the flowers, it carries the pollen from flower to flower, helping them in cross-pollination, even from those flowers where it does not get any nectar from. Therefore, a bumblebee tries to give more back in the process of trying to take a little nectar from every flower, and that Dattatreya says one should always be in the process of giving more than he or she takes from others, and that is a great attribute that he learned from bumblebee. The 12th guru, Dattatreya says, is a fish. Fish falls for its tongue and taste. A fish tries to bite on the food that is set as a trap on a bait, and therefore gets stuck for its life on a bait. Therefore, one who is able to control his tongue with respect to saying what he or she can say or cannot say, and what he or she can eat and cannot eat, is the one who will go beyond these baits of hook that are set to shoot us and trap us in our progress going beyond the mundane existence of life. The 13th one is a prostitute by the name Pingala. Pingala, Ida, Sushumna and Pingala are three nadis that are there in her body. One night, Pingala was waiting for one of her clients who used to pay her a lot of reward with respect to precious metals, jewels, and that night he promised her that he will bring her the greatest ornament, the richest ornament that he gifted his wife. That night, when that client never showed up, Pingala was so disgusted with it, she turned to spirituality and realized that there is no better vidya than spirituality, which teaches detachment from the very beginning. And Dattatreya said, this Pingala is no different from the Nadi Pingala in our body, which continues to ask for sensual pleasures as long as one gives it. The moment you try to withdraw, it will try to hold you hostage to your sensual pleasures. But eventually, as you start taming Pingala Nadi, it will start giving in, therefore teaching us detachment of the highest order, helping us with Vairagya. The 14th one that Dattatreya says is ironsmith, who was so lost trying to make an arrow out of a red piece of metal that he did not notice a king walking by. And Dattatreya says that should be the focus of one. We should make our will red hot and keep striking it again and again until it takes the shape, and that red hotness can only be achieved with the burning desire of one to change him or herself internally, which won't be visible outside but will only be experienced by the one who is transforming his or her journey, and all the people who are around them who start experiencing that calmness and bliss. The 15th Guru, Dattatreya says, is a child. A child will continue to laugh for no reason, and he or she has no honor or dishonor. They laugh at every silly thing because for them life is meant to be enjoyed, and that innocence is divinity, and that's something that we all need to preserve in us, irrespective of the size, shape and the age of the body that we grow into. Therefore, child is Dattatreya's 15th Guru. The 16th Guru is mentioned to be moon. Moon wanes and waxes through his cycle of full moon to blue moon, and Dattatreya says moon tries to shine the same, knowing very well the next day he will lose a piece of him, and he does not try to run away from his waning. Similarly, when he is waxing through, he does not try to be boastful that he grows through. He just tries to remain the same, and this waning and waxing being permanent in all of us as we grow through life. There will be a point, 50th year will mark a point through which the life will start coming down. Therefore, the body, Deham, Shariram is called Deham after 50 because after 50 the body comes closer to Dahanam, which means it has started coming down the ramp of its life, just like the moon. So moon, by showing up every night in the sky, reminds us of the limited time we have left on this planet. The next Guru of Dattatreya is a honeybee. Honeybee is very, very similar to bumblebee, but honeybee goes from flower to flower, searching for honey. It saves the honey in its honey hive, knowing very well that it would be taken away by one or the other, but it does not stop its persistent efforts. And in the process, though humans keep smoke under the hive and get rid of all the bees and literally steal the honey, the nectar that's turned into honey by the bees. Similarly, Dattatreya cautions us that all the material riches that we accumulate to pass it on to the next generations will be stolen from us in the form of our time, energy. So we need to make hay while the sun shines. So we need to make time to go visit those places of spiritual importance according to the Puranas and Vedas, and not waste our time trying to accumulate material riches and keep saying we do not have time, because it's a busy man or a woman who finds time. The 18th Guru is deer. Deer falls for the way deers are trapped, or a hunter will play some kind of music and music attracts deer. Similarly, people would love to gossip. They would love to listen to their loved ones. They would love to listen to the people whom they infatuate. And therefore, when they are listening to the ones they think they are loving or they are infatuating, those days, weeks and months will go on very sweet like honey, not realizing that that is not permanent, and whatever days are there, we tend to justify ourselves saying this is a day where I will enjoy. But what we don't realize is by encouraging that sense, we fall for our passions and sensual desires, which will bog down the spiritual fire in an aspirant who tends to become weak and weaker for the mere sensual desires of listening to one. And the one who falls for this trap will be like a deer who will fall in the trap of the hunter. The hunter here is Yamadharmaraj, and the net is his clutches of time, the Yamapasha. And when the final time of the judgment day comes, would we be ready to face the consequences of wasting time? Because there's no guarantee that we will get the human birth back. Therefore, we need to make sure our investment of time in spirituality is well invested, well guided, and therefore it would be well rewarded. The 19th Guru of Dattatreya is a lapwing. This is a bird that typically Dattatreya saw one day. It took a dive, caught hold of a rat, and as it started flying back, a lot of crows, a lot of other birds, hawks were trying to go after the bird to take a piece of the food that it caught hold of. And this lapwing got frustrated. It left that piece of rat that it got hold of, and all the birds flew away to the rat. Dattatreya says, we are no different. Most of our relatives are to do with our wealth. They are only after our wealth. All they need is our wealth. Everybody who comes into our life is after something. Either they are after our material wealth or the physical wealth or the beauty. Once the material wealth goes away, most of the relatives will not even take time to wish. Once the physical wealth, which is health, goes away, even that significant other that marries us will not entertain us for a long time. There will come a time where if a person loses the power to go to the bathroom, to pass the waste of the human body, and if he or she is locked onto the bed, and he or she has to see a day where their human waste are being passed on the bed like an infant would do, that day the significant other would also say, rather than suffering so much, why doesn't this person leave the body? Is that true love? And that day, my dear friend, you will realize you have wasted so much time, energy, and efforts in gathering all the pleasures, accumulating them and passing them on to them, wasting your precious life. The 20th one is a maiden's bangle. Once Dattatreya realized that a maiden was getting decked up to see her prospective groom, and since her mom was not home, this maiden removed the bangles that were on her hand, leaving one bangle on her hand, and how removing all the other bangles took out the whole noise. Dattatreya said, similarly, one should purposefully, by intent and design, keep himself or herself out of the sangatya dosham, keeping in the company of people who love gossip, who love to talk about people who are not there. People and the worldly affairs will always result in temporary pleasure and permanent pain. Therefore, always remember the maiden bangle, which will not make sound, because this bangle of existence should adorn or decorate that hand of the divine which makes us do everything on this planet, being that invisible hand. The 21st Guru of Dattatreya is a serpent. As a snake leaves its skin, Dattatreya says one needs to leave his skin behind of the past. Whatever has been done needs to be done and dusted. A yogi should leave the body with a big broad smile, sitting, and most of the yogis that you will see will leave the body with a big broad smile, because one, they do not get scared by death. Two, they never really think death is an end. For them, they know death is the end of an old beginning to mark a new divine start. Therefore, serpent is his 21st Guru. 22nd Guru is a spider. Dattatreya says, as a spider starts making its web, it creates a world of its web. Today we call it the World Wide Web, Internet, which connects. Similarly, it was inspired from a spider. A spider makes its world centered around a web in which it captures its food, and there will come a time where the spider itself will destroy the web and go to a new place to make its web. It won't just abandon it, because its young ones or it itself can get trapped in it, so it will destroy the web. So it cannot get entangled in it and go away and start a new one. Similarly, we all create our own worlds of existence in which we get entangled with our desires. We tie ourselves with the ropes so happily that we do not want to get detached from them. But looking at a spider, Dattatreya says, what we create, we need to make sure don't get attached to it, but stay detached. When the time comes, we should walk away from it, because time and tide waits for no man. And at the end of life's duration, even if you want to go back and correct something, you cannot reverse time, because time is unidimensional. And just like a spider, you can create a lot of worlds of your own, but don't get entangled. Make sure you choose to get detached from that cobweb of your creation in and around and walk away and start creating new ones at different levels of existence. And there will come a day where your web will connect you with your creator, taking you, lifting you beyond your existence. The 23rd Guru of Dattatreya is a caterpillar. A wasp carries a caterpillar into, this is in Sanskrit called the Brahmari Kitakanyayam. A wasp carries the caterpillar, and the caterpillar is so scared looking at the wasp. Over a period of time, the caterpillar will emerge as the wasp. The true biological explanation here is the caterpillar will be carried to the wasp's nest made out of clay, and the wasp's babies will eat the caterpillar for a period of time, and after some time you will see the babies come out and fly out as wasps. Since the tiny babies are never to be seen before the caterpillar is taken to the nest, people continue to think it's the wasp that turned the caterpillar, but the truth is when a caterpillar is taken as the feed to the wasp's babies which were not to be seen. Similarly, when the spiritual feed is given to the tiny babies that we all are in our spiritual lives, we need to chew them bit by bit, and therefore in the process get wings from that tiny little egg that we all started our lives as. We will evolve to a wonderful creation that can fly without getting entangled and attached to any of the baggages of this world's creations beyond Maya, and therefore we'll be able to fly freely one day, just like that caterpillar that flew out of the wasp's nest. Taking the help of a spiritual guru, we will develop our wings and therefore will be able to rise above the samsara that tries to engulf all of us in its clutches. The last Guru of Dattatreya is water. Dattatreya says, water is my 24th Guru. It quenches the thirst of every being, creature, sustains innumerable trees and all creatures on this planet. While the water serves all the living beings, it's never proud of itself. On the one hand, it humbly seeks the lowliest places by flowing from the highest places to the low-lying places. The sages too should the likewise bestow health, peace, joy, happiness to every creature that resorts to him or her, making sure others doing namaskaram and praising the saints or the devotees should never make them swollen and put their egos in check. Therefore, one who continues to exist in this God's creation should always be humblest and have an attitude of gratitude. These are the 24 Gurus that Dattatreya mentions in his Avadutha Gita. Wanted to make this brief attempt to explain all the 24 to the extent our Mother Divine allowed today. Stay blessed, Shree Maathrey Namaha, and continue to spread the bliss around.